So National Grief Awareness Week, 2nd to the 8th of December, as I said, takes place every year. Doesn't matter what day it falls on. We like to keep it to the same date so that everybody knows where they are. So last year, 2023, as I said, this has been now running for 6 years, but last year particularly was a huge year for National Grief Awareness Week. We launched the hashtag Better Together. What we wanted to try and do was raise awareness, not only for the bereaved, but for the professionals about where those services are. We know there still continues to be a disparity. Across the UK, there's a postcode lottery about whether you know about the bereavement services in your local area. So what we did, we created the Better Together Cafe initiative, which was hugely successful. We had a cafe pack with some tea and bunting and little flags and signposting material and balloons, which completely sold out. We had over 98 cafe events nationwide. Those range from the hospitals, the hospices, the local community groups, libraries. So many people got on board with this initiative. And we partnered with a number of charities. We partnered with To Wish and Marie Curie, and we put these posters together so that what you could do was literally just put your own logo on an empty t-shirt. So when these posters were printed, they were put around the surgeries and the hospitals and the libraries, and they raised awareness of your particular organisation. The Good Grief Trust is about signposting out to the community and out to those incredible services that maybe the bereaved don't even know exist. And that was our key ask last year, really, to bring everybody together. So community engagement last year was huge. Again, we had events running up and down the country, from down in the Devon to Lancashire to Suffolk to up in Liverpool. As I said, the hospitals got involved. Our ambassador, who I think is online, Jackie Brunton, who's a nurse up in Blackpool, she got our ambassador, Tommy Blaze from Strictly together at Blackpool Tower and did a little bit of press around National Grief Awareness Week. I was kindly invited by one of our lovely friends, Caroline, who runs the Earls Court Film Festival. I presented there. One of our lovely ambassadors, Natasha Bradshaw, who runs Mortlake Crematoria, she always does an incredible event every year, a park run. They don our t-shirts and they run around Richmond Park to raise awareness and also vital funds. So huge thanks to everybody who got involved in National Grief Awareness Week 2023. We went to London during that week, as we always do. So the Good Grief Trust co-founded the all-party parliamentary group on bereavement support back in 2017. And our chair then, Tobias Elwood, kindly hosted an event at Parliament where we got all our members together. We have over 183 members in this really proactive and passionate group. So that was one of the events that took place during National Grief Awareness Week, which was a Better Together cafe at Parliament. And we went out on the terrace of the House of Commons, which was just a really lovely event to get everybody together. And on the final day of the campaign, we always light the country orange. What we want to really try and do during National Grief Awareness Week is not only to bust the taboos and to try and normalise all those myriad of emotions that we're feeling when we're grieving, but we want to also acknowledge on a national platform the plight of those people who are bereaved up and down the country. So on the final day at 6 p.m, we light the country orange. And that ranges from Blackpool Tower, where we had a drone this year. We had a fantastic drone taking wonderful photographs of Blackpool Tower, which lights up orange for us. We had the Liver building in Liverpool. We went all the way down to the Isle of Wight, where the Royal Squadron lit up. Shrewsbury and Telford, the libraries, so many wonderful places. Cardiff Castle lit up for us orange this year. So thank you again to everybody who gets involved. And again this year, please do contact your local buildings, your local landmarks, the windmills. If you know of anybody who could possibly light up on the final day of the campaign, we would really, really appreciate it. Press coverage was huge, as always. We have some fantastic contacts across press and media. We generally get a double-page spread in the Hello magazine. The Times covered it this year. We had a front cover of Platinum magazine with our lovely patron, Dame Penelope Wilton, who spoke about National Grief Awareness Week. I was on the front cover of Menopause Life, which was pretty amazing. Again, talking about National Grief Awareness Week. Loose Women, we had a wonderful speaker on Loose Women. We were on LBC, Gabby Roslin covered it. We had a really lovely feature on BBC Morning Live. All the radio programmes always cover it up and down the country, regionally and nationally. And we actually kicked it off with our lovely ambassador, Dr. Amir Khan, up in Bradford. So huge, huge reach, as always. And the reason we are so passionate about our social media and trying to get out in the press is because it's free. It's free to raise the profile and to raise awareness of all those incredible charities and support services under our umbrella. This is why we've created this campaign, because we know there are so many people doing such exceptional work and making a huge difference to the lives of the people who are bereaved. So we just want to flag them up and raise their profile. This is indicative of what we do every year. We try, as we say, to increase the reach across the Good Grief Trust social media platforms. So as I'm sure many of you know, we have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They rose, as they always do. We generally have about 140,000+ followers. Facebook increased this year, actually. I've got some stats that I don't actually show on the slide, but they increased 200%, Facebook. Again, the visits increased almost 200%. Our followers increased by 2,000. And that, again, year on year is increasing, in which case every organisation, every charity, every group, every helpline that we signpost to will also have increased awareness. And that's exactly where we want to be able to go, because this is all organic. We don't pay for anything across our social media, but we do have some incredible people who run it. And we've got Chris Jopp online here, who is our incredible Facebook manager. And she's been doing this for years. So huge, huge thanks to all our volunteers who help us. Okay, here we are. National Grief Awareness Week 2024. This is our visual. This is the first time it's being seen, and we're really proud, as we always are, of the branding that we have, because we know it's very strong and it's right to the point. So this year it's Shine a Light, and we will be shining a light on people, places and projects across the UK who have made a difference. So our mission this year, as I said, is to shine a light for National Grief Awareness Week. And this year, as part of the campaign, we want to make sure that we shine a light on your people, places and projects across the UK. The people that you know, the places that you know, and the projects that you are aware of who are making a huge difference, or a little difference, with a huge, huge impact in your local community. So, people, who do you know who has gone above and beyond to make a difference? So you may be someone who's bereaved. You may be someone who has been grieving this year. It might be last year. It might be the year before. It could be 5 years ago. Whatever has made an impact to you on your grief journey, and that, as I said, could be from day one. It could be a little bit further along. Wherever that person has made an impact to you, we really want to be able to hear about it. We want to be able to showcase and highlight what they do and the real difference that they're making. So please do let us know. Places. So which venue or event have you attended and you would like to nominate as a shining beacon of hope for those who are bereaved in your local area? It could be an event that you went to during National Grief Awareness Week. It could be an event that local community service, that charity, that support group has put together in your local community that you've gone to and you've thought, well, my goodness, this has really made a difference to my life. Maybe it's connected to you, it's connected you with people in your local community. Maybe it's increased new friendships. Maybe it's helped you just to know that you're not alone. Whatever it is, wherever that place is that makes a difference, please do tell us. The same thing with projects. Which project or initiative in your local community or nationwide, maybe you've had to travel for it, has made a difference to the life of either you who is grieving or someone that you're working with? So if you're running an organisation, if you're working within a hospital trust, a hospital, a community group, a cafe, because as we know, the cafes that we started last year have increased. They are just incredible now in the community. We've got so many cafes and local lovely little groups that are popping up all over the place. And we're actually launching a new grief and bereavement cafe map. So maybe it's a cafe that you've been to. Maybe it's an art installation that has really made you think and open the conversation. What is it that has happened in your community? What project or initiative that you would like to flag up as something really important that has made a difference? So please do nominate people, places and projects. Get in touch with us. Send us your best stories. We want to get them out into the press. As I say, we've got Sunita on board now, who's just incredible at connecting us with the press and with those influencers who can really make sure that those stories are shared far and wide. We want to be able to showcase and celebrate the work of those people who are really, really making a difference and are going above and beyond. And we know, as I'm sure many of us who are bereaved online, from day one, if somebody says something to you and it really resonates and it helps you, it gives you a little bit of comfort, gives you a little bit of hope to move forward. It can be your lifeline. And those are the type of people that we want to hear about, because by hearing those people's stories, it can give other people hope. And all those messages are on National Grief Awareness Week. Every year, we try and create a new campaign, a new portfolio of posters and images that you can share. And they won't be just for this year. So please do look on National Grief Awareness Week and have a look at our past portfolio of messages and real thoughts about how you can share those with the community. So not only are we sharing this campaign with you, but this year we're launching a brand new, exciting initiative for the Good Grief Trust. We will be launching the Shina Light Awards. So we have a big event and we would love you all to come to it. It's down in Bournemouth. So I'm based down here in Bournemouth. And we have this incredible venue, the Vitality Stadium, which is the home of AFC Bournemouth. It's going to be on the final day of National Grief Awareness Week. And we thought it was really fitting because we've had some incredible support down here in the south. Our chair, Tobias Elwood, was so passionate. He lost his brother during the Bali bombings, and he's helped us so much, and he's based down here in Bournemouth as well. And the stadium, they've got our plaques, our Help and Hope plaques, and they are incredibly supportive of the charity. So we thought it would be a lovely idea to come down to the beach on the final day of National Grief Awareness Week, and we have a fundraising lunch, and that's when we'll be launching our Shina Light Awards. So these are just some of our nominees, and they will be speaking in a moment to tell you what type of work they do and why they've been nominated. We've got Jules Lewis here, who's our ambassador. She's lead nurse at Shrewsbury and Telford NHS Trust. We've got Jenny Gervin Baker, who is our incredible volunteer over in the Isle of Wight. The Good Grief Project with Jane and Jimmy and their son Joe have been nominated. We have some incredible nurses at Mid and South Essex. They've also been nominated for their work. And we've got John Adams, our ambassador and lead at Perry and Phillips, who's also been nominated for his work as a funeral director. But we want to hear who you would like to nominate. We have already put some people in the mix. This is not everybody, but we would love to celebrate and showcase the work of people who really care. People who want to reach out to those people who are grieving in their community and give them a lifeline and share that hope with them so that they can move forward with their life. So please do get in touch. The email is hello@thegoodgrieftrust.org. But as I said, these slides will be shared and you can get in touch with us direct. And Emma will then collate everybody and we will let those know who have been nominated. We'll also be running webinars. We always have many webinars that not just run by the Good Grief Trust. So if you have a webinar, let us know. The National Grief Awareness Week site has an events page, and we will list every single event, webinar, art gallery installation, park walk, whatever it is you've got, grief and bereavement cafe, please let us know and we can send that link out upload it as soon as possible. Once you've actually got your event organised, let us know. We will upload it to the National Grief Awareness Week page, and hopefully that will bring more public and more awareness to your local event. We were very fortunate last year. Charlie Mackesay, who helps us and supports us on Instagram, shared this, and I just want to read this. It says, "Have you ever lost someone you love?" "Yes," said the horse. "How does it feel?" "You can feel numb, sad, lost and often angry, with nowhere to put your love." "That's grief?" asked the boy. "Yes. There's no right or wrong way to feel, and all of it is important." And Charlie wrote this along with one of his illustrations specifically for our National Grief Awareness Week. And many of you know Charlie's reach, and he has a reach of 1.9 million. So this is the type of targeting that we absolutely love. These people are so generous and so kind, empathetic, and supportive of the work of the National Grief Awareness Week and the Good Grief Trust. So please do tag us. Tag the Good Grief Trust, tag NWA24, and tag our hashtag for this year, which is hashtag Shine a Light. So these are some of our visuals. We have them in all formats, so please do get in touch. From the end of today, they will be uploaded to National Grief Awareness Week on the platform. There will be a link. You can go in, you can upload a portrait version of it, a square version of it, a landscape version of it. So please do share it alongside your nominations and trying to shine a light with those people who are making a difference in your local community. So please do unmute yourself. Please put your hand up if you want to say anything, if you'd like to share any news about what you'd like to do, if you have any comments about this year's campaign. But first of all, while we're thinking about maybe sharing some thoughts, I'd like to invite one of our first speakers. So Jules Lewis. Jules is our ambassador and lead nurse in Shrewsbury and Telford NHS Trust. And Jules and her team have been nominated to receive an award. So welcome, Jules.
Hello, lovely to see you all. Thank you for so many people joining us today. I'm Jules Lewis. I'm the Swan End of Life Care Facilitator at Shrewsbury and Telford Hospital. And this is Penny Watson. So Penny is going to help me organise National Grief Awareness Week this year, just as she did last year, along with the team. But I just wanted to say that it was so lovely to receive a nomination for Shine a Light. So I just want to say to people, please nominate, because it is a lovely feeling to get a nomination. And I don't see it as me personally, I see it as the team, because there is no I in team, and we work really well together to make sure that we signpost bereaved relatives to the Good Grief Trust. So it is a team award, and we'll be attending the lunch, some of within the team, to celebrate everybody, people, places and projects. And we will be nominating people ourselves, I'm sure, in the coming days. But I have a really privileged role here at Shrewsbury and Telford Hospital, because I'm the lead nurse for end of life care, everything Swan, which many of you will know all about, signs, words, actions and needs. And it's all about getting end of life care right. We've got one chance to get it right. I'm also very fortunate that I'm the staff bereavement support lead as well. So Linda will know that we have quite a lot of staff support here, and I've organised one for the Tuesday of National Grief Awareness Week with the help of Penny, and also been working very closely with our renal colleagues here, and they would really like to put on a relative cafe, something we've never done before. We're working with them to do that during National Grief Awareness Week. We're also working very closely with our bereavement teams. So we're relaunching some of the documentation that is sent out. We've been working, myself and Penny have been working with the bereavement office to make sure there's no duplication in what goes out. So we're working with Mike and the team. So he's going to support National Grief Awareness Week this year, and we'll probably have stands around the hospital to share that. And Roy Lilly, many of you might know Roy. I do think he's a good friend of mine. I hope he would say the same. He's a health writer and commentator, but he's also a brilliant artist. and he's been very kind, and he's donated some of his artwork to be a condolence card. So we're going to launch that during National Grief Awareness Week. So we've developed a new condolence card to go out to all bereaved families. So that will be launched during that week. So we're very excited. We get the trust to Orange all week, as well as that final day, because we tend to really like to see it during the week as well. So our statue, which you saw in the slides, that will get lit up in orange. Telford Library has got a gorgeous building. They always light up in orange for us. Cardiff Castle, I always ask, and they always say yes. And I've seen a beautiful building in Aberystwyth that I visited recently, and it looks like an Linda, and I think that would look beautiful orange. So I ask, as Linda knows, I very often get no's, but then I go back and ask again. So, you know, we keep on asking till we get. It's so important that we come together during this week, because, as Linda said, Christmas is a really tough time for people. And I think if we support people before we go into that run-up of Christmas, then it gets people through. And we certainly have a lovely Hope Tree as part of our Staff Bereavement Support Cafe during December. And they put a little message on a little tag, pop it on the tree, and we put it in the education centre all Christmas and New Year for people to go and add to that. And that really helps people. Some really lovely friendships have been made within the cafes, haven't they, Penny? Yeah. You know, 2 of our ladies come together, they book a day off to come, they leave together. You know, they really have made really good friendships within the cafes, and they do make such a difference. And I find they make a difference to me as well. I know I facilitate them and run them, but they also help me with my bereavement. I think it's really important. And we have invited Linda to come and join us during National Grief Awareness Week. And we hope, I know it's a really busy week for you, Linda, but we hope you'll be able to spare time to come, because we have got something special organised for the Tuesday, which I can't divulge yet, but it's going to be very. And we really want Linda, because Linda has, you know, really supported us here. And it's a pleasure to be an ambassador, because it's like my people, and I feel really appreciated by being part of that team. And, you know, other ambassadors, you know, I've only met a handful of them. We meet on Zoom and it's all virtual, but I was lucky enough to meet some of them face to face last month, and we got on as if we've known each other for years. Yeah. I've met Linda a few times, but it feels like me and Linda have been friends for years. So it really is lovely, and please get involved. It really does make a difference. So thank you. Hope that's okay, Linda.
Oh, it's amazing. Thank you for everything. And Jules hasn't mentioned, she's just recently abseiled down her hospital building to raise funds for our Good Grief cards and for the resources that she gives her bereaved families. So we cannot thank you enough. And we've got another team on board. I'm going to introduce those now, because the passion in the teams to look after the families. If you're bereaved, you know how much that will make a difference. To leave a hospital knowing that you've been cared for, knowing that the person that has died has been cared for in the most dignified and empathetic and kind way, and the language that's been spoken has been the kindest, it just carries you forward, doesn't it? So huge thanks. Thank you to Jules and your team, and thank you to Penny as well. Thank you for joining us. And I wanted to bring another team actually who have also been abseiling down buildings. Laura and Sophie, please do join us from Mid and South Essex.
So my name's Sophie. I work at Mid and South Essex Hospitals. My other colleagues, Laura and Kim, are also on the call. But yeah, much like Jules, we've abseiled down the building recently to raise funds for the vital Good Grief Trust cards that we're giving out to our bereaved relatives. We're really excited to support National Grief Awareness Week, and we've got lots planned. We're also planning to light up the buildings orange, holding stalls around the hospital. I'm trying to think, we're doing our first staff bereavement cafe as well. We've had so vital help from Jules as well. We've been in contact with her through Linda, and she's really given us a lot of support and encouragement towards starting our own staff bereavement cafe, and we're planning to hold that on the final day of Grief Awareness Week. We're doing it for staff initially, but hopefully maybe in the future we'll be able to support our relatives, because we know how vital it is to be able to provide that support for them. Also, we're planning to we've installed some of the Sit With Hope plaques around our trust as well, and they are so beneficial to our relatives. We've installed them in places that we know that relatives will go and sit outside the hospital and perhaps be thinking, as well as the staff, and they've been so important to be able to install them. And we hope to carry on working with the Good Grief Trust to provide support for all our relatives.
Thank you so much, Sophie and Laura and the whole team down at Mid and South Essex. So if you are working within an NHS trust, please do either come along to Bournemouth and hear all the incredible work that everybody's doing when we share the Shina Light Awards, but also just to look on National Grief Awareness Week and see what events are taking place, and please do support all those events locally and nationally. So thank you to Mid and South Essex. I want to bring on Eloise, actually. Eloise Holt, is she here? Eloise has been... Hi, so Eloise, we met last year, and she came on board. Maybe you'd like to tell a little brief about your story and why you've been nominated, Eloise. Welcome.
Hello. So I was in my second year of social work at Bournemouth University, and we had to do a project that was close to our hearts to raise awareness. So I lost my dad when I was 12 years old. I've got an older sibling who was 15 at the time, and I've got a younger sibling who was 9, I believe. Yeah, 9 at the time. So when I came across this charity and organisation, I thought, okay, I'll do some fundraising. So I didn't expect the outcome that I got, and I managed to raise over £2,000 in just 2 weeks, alongside doing my university work. But I've been kept with Linda, and we've been keeping each other up to date, as in the past year I've also lost a few friends, and I've managed to help them by signposting them to this charity and how to deal with their death, because it's a 15-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old daughter, both lost their dads in the past month. So it's been a very difficult time for them, and as I've been through it myself, I was able to help them by what Linda has told me, so that was quite rewarding. I've also been nominated for the Shina Light Award, which is very exciting, and I look forward to possibly doing some more fundraising events in the coming weeks, months.
Oh, and so well deserved. Thank you so much to Eloise, because as she said, she's signposted to us, so she knows about the Good Grief Trust, but it's not about us. It's about the type of support that you can access within our umbrella, under our umbrella. So you put that postcode in, and whatever charity is right for maybe that child who's only 11, or maybe their mum or their dad or their sibling or whoever it is, so many people are going to obviously grieve completely differently. And that's the beauty of having everything under the one umbrella, so that you can find tailored support that's right for you. So huge congratulations to Eloise, who's also online, amazing. Now I just want to bring in Jimmy and Jane from the Good Grief Project. So Jimmy and Jane have an organisation, a charity called the Good Grief Project, and they've also been nominated via somebody who was a beneficiary of one of their retreats. So Jane and Jimmy, welcome. Congratulations.
Hi, lovely to see you all. What a great turnout. Yes, we set up the Good Grief Project after the death of our son in 2011, and it's kind of grown from there and become a resource where we have films, we've written books, but most importantly, we run retreats regularly for bereaved parents and siblings. And they're residential. We basically raise funds to offer people bursaries to attend those retreats, and they're open to everyone, regardless of their means, and that's what our sort of commitment is to, making it really accessible. More recently, we've developed Grief Fit, led by our son Joe, because the thing about the Good Grief Project is it's a family-run charity. Our family came together after the death of our son and brother because we didn't really know what else to do. And back then things were very different. There's so much that's changed since then, as Linda will well know. But back then it was a bit of a desert, and there was a deafening silence around particularly untimely and parental grief. And we just felt so isolated and lost and alone. We thought it's not okay. We wanted to do something to support other people. And it's kind of grown from there to the point where now our retreats we run in May and September every year. People come from now all over the world, strangely. But basically, they incorporate kind of creative and active approaches to grieving. It's an intentional grief. You know, we use boxing, which is led by our Joe. The cooking is done by our daughter with love. That's her way of honouring her brother. Jimmy leads the photography, and I am a trained therapist and basically offer counselling and signposting and link up with Linda and lots of other organisations so that people don't feel so alone.
Well, it's just thank you so much to both of you and the whole family, because I think, as you've explained so eloquently there, peer support. So being with somebody who's been through it is often all we need, actually. First of all, early on, because you know that you're not alone, you know that you're not going crazy, you know that the emotions that you're feeling are normal because someone else has been through it, and that can give you your hope. And we know that peer support charities like you have been born out of passion and love and trying to help other people. So we can't thank you enough, honestly, both of you. And huge congratulations for being nominated. Yes, Jimmy.
Oh, well, I just wanted to say that one of the things in all of our teachings, if you like, are born out of our own experience, so that we call our weekends an active grief weekend. And this is really because what we found has been best for us, and it's not true for everybody, but what's been best for us is to meet our grief head on. And to do this in an active and creative way. So this is the reason why we've made a number of films, and we've made and produced a number of books as well. But the idea through the weekend really has to do with encouraging people to recognize that their grief is actually a moment and a possibility for some creative endeavors. So while we do the photography and creative writing, we would actually like to include other media, but we just don't have the time or the resources to do that. What happens at the weekends is that there's a certain bubble that is formed because we are all bereaved of a child, either as a parent or as a sibling, which means that people can be a lot freer with their emotions and a lot easier to talk about their stories. What we realized was that while the weekends were very intense, people made very immediate connections with other bereaved parents and siblings. When they went home, there was a certain sort of hiatus, there was a gap in how they were doing. And we were concerned that we were giving people a very intense experience, but then what? Where was the aftercare, so to speak, which is where the idea of our online program called Grief Fit has come about. And I believe that is the core, and I'm not quite sure, Linda, whether or not that's the nomination for the Grief Fit program,
Yes,
or for
our...
It is, right, okay. So the thing is that's been led by Josh's brother, our son Joe, who is himself a personal trainer, and I guess unfortunately he can't be here today because he's at work. But the deal is that he would probably be best to explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just one more thing, very briefly. We felt passionately that we needed to get more men involved, and the attendance here is symptomatic of or representative of that. So our charity is 50-50 male-female. Now that's a micro comparison, but it's so important to us to model that and to work with that. So Joe and Jimmy are always being encouraged, and both are reluctant, would be first to admit it, to speak about grief, but both have overcome that, and for that it's an amazing thing, and we want to kind of keep pushing the involvement of men.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We know that there's a huge gap in the sort of bereavement sector for men. So yeah, thank you again for everything you're doing, and huge congratulations again for the nomination. So Jenny Gervin Baker, we'd like to bring you on board. Jenny is over in the Isle of Wight. Jenny's been a volunteer for the Good Grief Trust for many years now, and she's had her own loss. Unfortunately, her husband died quite recently. But she's been so passionate and so proactive and so creative with the way that she's tried to help people on the island, because we know when we first approached the Isle of Wight, there was absolutely nothing on the island at all. So Jenny, welcome and huge congratulations for being one of our nominees.
Yes, hi everyone. Yes, I'm Jenny Gervin Baker. I live on the Isle of Wight. I met Linda first when she came to give a talk to a function at Liz Earle, because Liz Earle is an Isle of Wight company. And she just set up the Good Grief Trust and wanted to publicise it and, of all things, get it into hospitals initially. And I'm a retired nurse and I still had connections. So I approached the hospital and was able to get the cards in there. And from then it's gone on and on and on. And then when we had the lighting up of monuments and things, I was able to get a beautiful monument called Appledurkham House. If any of you have visited the Isle of Wight, you might know it. And it was actually in the slides of the places lit up in the bottom corner. And then the Royal Yacht Squadron on the island, which is quite a prestigious place, and I managed to get that lit up as well, and that's ongoing now. So we did used to have Good Grief cafes initially, but then COVID put paid to that, and then my health hadn't been too good for a few years. But yes, I lost my partner a couple of years ago, and just after, the nurses brought me the bereavement pack. And I was sitting with our lovely chaplain at the time, who Linda knows. And it was quite funny because we looked at one another and we said, well, I know what's in here. Opened it, and the Good Grief Trust card was the first thing that you see. So I was so pleased that that is able to happen. And yes, I've seen them in various places around the hospital. I too, if I know friends that have had bereavements, I give them a card or contact them and give them the Good Grief Trust website. And I'm always available for anyone to, you know, talk to and signpost them to relative agencies. So I try and do my little bit on the island. There's only me. And unfortunately, I was the one in the bobble hat holding the umbrella. Awful picture, I know, but thank you, Linda.
It's a lovely photo.
I'm so proud and honoured to be one of the nominees. I only found out yesterday purely because I hadn't done the correct procedure when Linda informed me initially. So I'm very, very honoured, and thank you to Linda, the Good Grief Trust, and well done to all the other nominees. It's great that we're all working towards talking about a taboo subject recognised. That's my passion. Talk about bereavement and death, and, you know, let's not cross over the road because we don't want to talk to the person. Engage them. You know, that's my bit.
Thank you so much, Jenny. And as you know, as you said, if it wasn't for, thank you. And if it wasn't for you and the introduction that you made into the hospital, I mean, you know, the teams, the palliative care and the end of life teams, they order thousands of our Good Grief cards. So, and they make sure from everybody, from the ward through to the mortuary, has a card. And that is absolutely vital, because that island now we know is well serviced. And as you said, the awareness is growing and always will now continue to grow. And that's because of your lovely orange hoodie as well, for wearing that across the island. So thank you so much.
What would I wear today?
Thank you. And we can't wait to see you at Bournemouth at the awards ceremony. So thanks so much, Jenny.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Julie, Councillor Julie Sloman, I'd love to invite you now to have a couple of words.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can. Julie, welcome. Congratulations, because you're also one of our nominees.
Thank you very much. I have absolutely no idea why I've been nominated, but I take it with great pleasure and satisfaction. I don't know where to begin. I'm a bit like Wurzel Gummidge. I have several heads, so I want to talk really with two heads today, just the two. Firstly, as an NHS bereavement officer, and secondly, my role as a counsellor. So I work for Blackpool Teaching Hospitals in part of the bereavement service, basically supporting relatives in the initial aftermath of having lost somebody. Now, I've got a wonderful colleague called Jackie Brunton. Don't tell her I called her wonderful, because it will go to her head. And she actually opened my eyes to what the trust did, and I thought there's a very good fit here between the work that I do at the bereavement office and at the council. We've got fantastic things going on here in the hospital. The week of Good Grief, National Grief Week, we've got a special bench placed outside the hospital, which will be lit up orange. And we've also got the Tree of Light service on the 2nd of December, where we invite bereaved families from all over the Fylde Coast to come and share in a very special service to remember their loved ones. And great things are happening. So if I take this head off and put my council head off, I think I might have been nominated because I did challenge some 12 months ago the other 41 councillors in Blackpool Borough Council to actually pledge a plaque. And I was absolutely overwhelmed, and I'm pleased to say we have over 100 of them now in Blackpool, thank you to the support of my colleagues. And we have a wonderful company called Envercoat, a wholly owned company of the council, and they go out and they actually are responsible for placing the plaques on the benches. And they did report back to me that while they were doing it, one member of the public was actually trying to scan the QR code as they were doing it. And I thought, well, that's absolutely great. We've also recognised, not just about benches either. We can put them anywhere. Councillor Walsh has put us in the Solaris Centre in the Dementia Garden, because as we know, bereavement can start sometime before the terminal event. Blackpool Tower, again, this year we're lighting it up for Good Grief Week, and it's a wonderful fit because we've got the Tangerine Dream football players. It's orange, Good Grief Trust's orange. Blackpool Tower is a special place in a lot of people's hearts, including Strictly. I'm sure Strictly will be coming again this year. And there are 3.5 million visitors to Blackpool every year just for the illumination. So I'm not saying they'll all come that particular week, but there'll be plenty of exposure. We're also lighting up the big wheel on Central Pier, which is, again, a fantastic attraction for people. So we'll just keep on doing what we keep on doing. That's all I can say, really. Thank you.
Well, I think that it's quite a lot to say, Julie, because, as you say, because of your breadth and the scope that you have to make a difference, it's through councillors. And how many councillors did you say there are in the country?
Well, we've got 42 altogether in Blackpool, but I did lay down the gauntlet, but not particularly well at the time, to the other 20,000 that we've got. So if those 20,000 just got one, and then obviously we've got 630 odd MPs, but we've had 2 new MPs return back to Blackpool in the recent election. So I am sort of trying to get into their ribs, to support us as well, which I'm sure they will.
Well, it's only through people like you who are in the heart of it, who know the system, who can make those announcements at your meetings with the councils, that we can actually, reach the local communities that we really need to do. So huge thanks again to Julie up in Blackpool. So we've got Liverpool, we've got Blackpool, we've got across the whole country. So huge thanks, and we can't wait to see you in Bournemouth as well, obviously. Now we've got John Adams, who's just joined. John is our ambassador at the Good Grief Trust. He's a funeral director. And as I say, Perry and Phillips have been nominated as a place and a project, really, that have now come on board and are trying to help the funeral sector to improve and develop the bereavement support within their families that they help and service and support. So welcome to John.
Thank you, Linda. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Maybe you'd like to just say a few things about, what sort of model that you've implemented, which is why you've got award.
So it's great to be here. So my background as well is I'm past president of the National Association of Funeral Directors, and during that year I launched a parliamentary petition to add content on death, dying and bereavement to the national curriculum. So I'm very much about giving people awareness in advance about how to be proactive rather than reactive. And these cards, bereavement cards, which I'm really trying to push now to get out into the funeral industry and our community, to ensure that every bereaved family has that in their hands, so they can refer to. Everyone's needs are always different, and that's why we believe so much in the work of the Good Grief Trusts. Funeral directors are starting to see the power of this and how it's so useful for their families they serve. We're seeing it. Was it 2021? I looked after a gentleman called Mark Irvine, and he actually has a bench with a plaque on as well, the Good Grief Trusts. And he's also a huge advocate now of the amazing work taking place by the Good Grief Trusts. So for me personally, it's a huge honour to be put forward, and I'm absolutely delighted to be involved. And again, it's about how we give information to people in advance, and that's really what my belief is, even with communication around grief and loss and the emotions affiliated to that, even before we suffer a loss. So again, the work that Linda and the team are doing and Emma are doing, it's so important, and it really is helping society. I'd be delighted to take any questions as well from people.
Thank you, John. Thanks so much. Yeah, it's so important. We're trying to create this consistent approach so that we have the gold standard across the whole sector. So John is trying to help us with the funeral industry, with the funeral sector, with our APPG on bereavement support, to link up with the APPG on funerals so that we can improve that support and the awareness around signposting, because we know, obviously, that's the first port of call, is to talk to a funeral director. And if they offer that excellent support, that signposting out from day one, we know that many people feel less isolated and less alone, and at least they know there's somewhere for them to go when they need it, if they need it. So huge thanks to John for everything he's doing to raise awareness. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
You're welcome. So does anybody have any questions? We've also got, I just want to also introduce Carol Wilkinson, who has also been nominated. Carol is one of our lovely volunteers. So if you know of any volunteers within your organisation, if you're running a charity or a support service who you need to flag up as making a difference, please do let us know. Carol, are you there? I just want to say hello and huge congratulations for your nomination as well.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. Yeah. I got in touch with the Good Grief Trust during lockdown. My husband died the previous year, and it was a very lonely, isolating time. And it's not an over-exaggeration to say it became my lifeline. And I met people like Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. Became a cafe volunteer. And that has encouraged me, once lockdown was lifted, to start some local cafes that I'm running. And I've done a couple of events now in the community, one last year as part of National Grief Awareness Week, and I'm delighted to say that we'll be running another one this year, together with a local poet and playwright, and also another person that I've just met recently. So the Shine a Light theme, I think, is going to be a great idea. Because we're also wanting to give people hope who are grieving. So shining a light on how you can learn to live well, even though you are grieving, is going to be one of the themes that we're doing. So thanks, Linda, and thanks for the nomination.
Oh, so well deserved. Carol's been running our virtual cafe for, I don't know how long now, goodness me, over a couple of years probably. And the commitment with herself and our other volunteers is just so huge, particularly as they're grieving themselves and they're bereaved. But as we know, it often helps us to be able to share and to reach out to other people and find that purpose, find that new purpose in life. So huge thanks to Carol. So does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any thoughts they'd like to share? Thank you so much to everybody who's put your introduction into the chat. We'll obviously share that, and we'll get back to you if you've made any comments about who you are and where you are. Thanks to Mohammed Omar, who's here from the Gardens of Peace. So please do get in touch with Mohammed if you need any support. It's just a myriad of people. So thank you so much to everybody who's joined us. Before we finish, I just want to play a little song. So we thought this song actually really encompassed what we're trying to achieve this year. We want to be able to shine a light, not only on these people, places and projects, but shine a light on the hope that is out there and the love that is out there between us all and between our communities. So we're just going to share this little song.
Love, shine light in every corner of my heart. Let the love light carry, let the love light carry. Light up the magic in every little part. Let our love shine a light in every corner of our heart. Come on and feel the love. Ooh, love, shine a light in every corner of my dreams. Let the love light carry, let the love light carry. Like the mighty river flowing from the stream. Let our love shine a light in every corner of my dream. You're gonna sing it, and we're all gonna shine a light together. Shine a light to light the way. Brothers and sisters in every little part. Let our love shine a light in every corner of our heart. Can I see your hands? Can I see your hands tonight? Come on, everybody, and feel the love. Come on, come on, keep it up, keep it up. Love, shine a light in every corner of the world. Let the love light carry, let the love light carry. Light up the magic for every boy and girl. Let our love shine a light in every corner of the world. Come on and sing it. And we're all gonna shine a light together. Shine a light to light the way. Ooh, brothers and sisters in every little part. Let our love shine a light in every corner of our hearts. And we're all gonna shine a light together. And sisters in every little part. Let our love shine a light in every corner of our hearts. Shine a light in every corner of our hearts.
So, I hope you enjoyed that rousing song. We thought it was quite appropriate. We're all going to shine a light together, and that's all we want to be able to do. There's just one final thing just before you all go. I think Emma said there was just one question.
Hey, yeah, thank you, Linda. To what extent are schools and universities involved in National Grief Awareness Week? I guess, you know, the potential for that.
Yes, I mean, we would love everybody to get involved. Every year, more people get involved in the campaign and more people introducing it into their particular organisations. So our cards are in schools and universities. We want them to be obviously more extensively used. And we want to raise awareness of all those charities and services and the campaign itself. So if you are involved with a school, please do let us know and we'll try and link up with you. And, you know, we can light gardens, we can light playgrounds, and many people are using the plaques on their benches in playgrounds as well. So, yes, please do get involved.